The Dallas Cowboys recently beat the New York Giants 28-20 on the Thanksgiving Day game, and it became one of the most successful non-Super Bowl events in the history of the NFL. Many thought that it was even more entertaining than a Super Bowl. It even had its own halftime show, countless celebrity spectators, unique ads, and so much more. But among the key takeaways from the event was the halftime event with the Jonas Brothers. Let's find out why. First up, Jonas Brothers perform at the Thanksgiving Day game. The Jonas Brothers were chosen as the official act for the 2022 Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving game. It seemed like an odd choice at first, but you have to remember that this isn't the Super Bowl. You don't need undisputed legends to perform at the game. You just need someone who's entertaining and talented, and the Jonas Brothers are certainly both. What's interesting is that the Jonas Brothers are actually huge fans of the New York Giants. In fact, the trio posted a photo of them watching a Cowboys vs. Giants game live back in 2017. Even this rivalry is probably meaningful to them. There's no confusion as to why that is. The brothers grew up in New Jersey, just miles away from the Giants stadium. They grew up watching pretty much every Giants home game live, and they stuck to their team even when they got famous. Additionally, there's also a Texas link to it all. Nick Jonas, the youngest member of the band, was also born in Dallas, Texas. Being a Cowboys fan is practically in his blood. However, from all their previous tweets, it seems like all three men are exclusively Giants fans. At the very least it's a football fan, or three football fans, that'll be performing at the halftime event. There have been so many times when celebrities with almost no knowledge of the game have the entire show revolve around them. In the Jonas Brothers' case, they're huge fans of one of the teams that'll be playing that day. They seem like a pretty perfect fit overall. Up next, how did viewers react to the halftime show performance? Many of the fans who grew up watching the Jonas Brothers were excited to see them back on TV. Even though the band is still pretty popular today, it's the nostalgia that keeps this band going. The halftime performance went pretty well overall. The Jonas Brothers performed some of their newest songs on the show, including a Billboard Hot 100 #1 single. Viewer retention also remained very high throughout the performance, with many viewers calling it a mini Super Bowl. The response to the performance was overwhelmingly positive as well. One fan said that there was a football game in the middle of a Jonas Brothers concert, claiming they stole the show. Even some viewers that weren't fans of the band before the halftime show admitted that they enjoyed listening to their music. However, some fans were disappointed with the choice of songs during the show. The Jonas Brothers only performed songs they recorded after their reunion in 2019. Some of their most popular hits come from before that time, back when the band was still a part of Disney. Many fans were hoping that this halftime show would be nostalgic for them, and when the Jonas Brothers chose to completely ignore that side of their career, it was obviously disappointing. Of course, there were also some viewers that simply didn't want the Jonas Brothers there. Others said that the show didn't even need a halftime show performance, but for the most part, the Jonas Brothers absolutely nailed their performance at the Thanksgiving game, and most fans loved it as well. Coming up, what about the other halftime performance? The Jonas Brothers weren't the only band to have a halftime performance at the Thanksgiving game. While the former Disney band performed at the Cowboys-Giants game, the Bills-Lions game being held in Detroit had a halftime performance of its own. That halftime show had Bebe Rexha as a headliner. You've probably heard of songs like The Monster, Hey Mama, and I Got You from this pop act in the past, among numerous other hits, of course.
I've been through the same thing, baby, don't you worry, I got you.
This was a pretty strange selection by the NFL, though. Not only was she not a very recognizable name to people who weren't fans of pop music, but she also had pretty much no history of being a big football fan either. Unlike the Jonas Brothers, she was also overwhelmingly pop, which might not go down too well in a drunk, sporty crowd. Still, she successfully performed at the event. However, it didn't really go down too well for her. She was mercilessly booed by the Detroit crowd, especially toward the end of the performance when she was performing her biggest hits ever. She's obviously not the first pop act to be booed at an NFL game, but a lot of viewers watching at home were confused as to why the crowd was so angry. Bebe Rexha didn't steal the show or anything, but was she really so bad that the crowd had to boo her? Well, as it turned out, the crowd wasn't booing her because they hated her performance. The people were booing her because they couldn't see her performance. Next, why couldn't fans see the Bebe Rexha halftime performance? Believe it or not, viewers that watched the halftime performance at home had absolutely no problem with Bebe Rexha. She actually exceeded a lot of people's expectations, who had assumed that she was just another overly auto-tuned pop star. She showed off her vocal range and was entertaining throughout. However, fans at the stadium had a different story to tell. While they could hear Bebe Rexha, they couldn't necessarily see her. Unlike the Jonas Brothers halftime show, which was seemingly planned months in advance, the Bebe Bebe Rexha show was hastily put together. It didn't really seem like the stadium was even prepared for an impromptu stage setup. Because of this, the organizers put together what was probably the smallest stage fans had ever seen for a halftime show. Not only that, but this tiny stage was located in the corner of the field, out of view for a massive chunk of the NFL fans. Because of this, most fans at the stadium completely missed the halftime show. You can imagine there were lots of fans that may have even been excited about the halftime show, but they simply didn't get to see it. It was a massive production failure, and unfortunately for Bebe Rexha, she had to deal with the blowback in the form of boos. Believe it or not, the person in charge of the whole event was Jay-Z. He's been the NFL's musical coordinator for a few years now, but a lot of the decisions he's made over the past few years have been confusing, to say the least. Up next, how did Bebe Rexha react to the halftime show debacle? For whatever reason, a lot of fans started to blame Bebe Rexha for the way things turned out at the halftime show, even though she had nothing to do with it, since her name was attached to the whole thing. She had to deal with boos and hate from online fans as well. As far as not being able to see the whole thing is concerned, neither Bebe Rexha, Jay-Z, nor the NFL really addressed the issue. Considering the fact that it was the halftime show for the second most viewed game of that specific night, it simply wasn't a big enough deal to even be addressed. Following the game, Bebe Rexha simply posted a tweet saying she hoped everyone enjoyed watching her perform at the halftime show. Before the show, Bebe Rexha posted more than a few tweets about her then upcoming performance. She posted a video of herself rehearsing the dance moves in her slippers. Unfortunately, no one really got to see it. She also admitted that she was very nervous to be performing at the event in a quote tweet to a fan. That makes sense considering it was probably the largest TV audience Bebe Rexha ever performed in front of. But the day after the halftime show, the whole controversy surrounding fans not being able to see her simply died down. It wasn't that big of a deal to begin with, considering most fans were there to watch a game of football, not to watch some pop star sing her biggest hits. And finally, how many viewers tuned in for the Thanksgiving game? As we've already mentioned, the NFL Thanksgiving show has sort of turned into a mini Super Bowl. Families across America tune in on the games as part of the Thanksgiving tradition now, and this year, it was one of the most viewed season games in the history of the NFL.
And it goes to Raymond. They need the Cal Stanford band play right now.
In total, over 42 million viewers in the United States tuned into the game. In comparison, in 2021, only 28 million viewers tuned into the Thanksgiving game. This year's Thanksgiving game was the most viewed season game ever for the NFL. The last time a season game got over 40 million viewers was in 1990 during a Monday Night Football game, which also included the Giants along with the San Francisco 49ers. Could next year's viewership be even higher? We'll just have to wait and see. That's a wrap for this video. Did you enjoy the Thanksgiving game? Let us know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.